Welcome to the podcast for productivity with your hosts, Ron Verbreggi and Rebecca Steins. Here we'll discuss the doing and the being of you as a person, your business, your career, finding your purpose in the world, and making a bit of money along the way. Please click the subscribe button to be notified of every new episode. Thank you. Hi, Rebecca.
Hi, John.
All right, today is our first episode of the podcast for productivity, which may or may not change. We're going to talk about hustle, as in hustle, get off your behind and do the work you need to do. So I think you and I both had major aha moments in the last couple of weeks, right? Specifically on this topic.
Yeah.
All right. So tell me how you came to the aha moment of like, all right, I'm going to get off my butt and get something done. We're going to make life happen.
Well, for me, first of all, I want to go back and talk about the word hustle a minute.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
if the word hustle, because sometimes that word triggers people.
There's a magazine with that. Well, never mind.
Right? Well, that might be a different kind of hustle, honey.
Hey, if you're going to make money, you're going to do.
I don't have a problem with it.
Fabulous.
But some people think of like, hustling as hard, or they don't want to work so hard, that kind of thing. Almost like a slave to it or something. Like, I think that there's a Yeah. So if hustle's not the right word for you, that's okay. What I enjoy relaxation. It's one of my top values.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm with you there. I think we'll get to my story in a minute, but that's where I needed to come back from. But yes, please continue.
Yeah. So for the past 3 years, I've been building business in different ways. And what I was finding is that the actions that I was taking weren't the actions that were necessarily going to create a financial longevity for me.
Right.
So I wanted to create a financial future that was awesome and amazing. And my intention was always that I could do it in a way that never felt like I was working.
Mm-hmm.
So I was searching for something to take action on, or to quote unquote do, that would create the level of income that I desire, or could have the potential to create the level of income that I desire. But I had some things around it. I wanted to be able to do it from anywhere in the world.
Yep.
I wanted to do it whenever I wanted to. And I also wanted to be able to take like my time for me and have this sort of like extreme pinch me world of flexibility.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I know exactly what you're going with that. Part of it, there's a component of it that's probably passive income, right? Where you do some work on something, you set something in motion and get it in motion, and then you reap the benefits from that almost as a passive income. That's kind of that gold standard.
So for me, I had that, and it became this like it wasn't working though.
Mm-hmm.
It was sort of like this pie in the sky sort of thinking that, oh, there's passive income and I don't have to do anything. It just runs. And I believe that some of that can be there. But for myself, there was a component to that wasn't allowing me to actually create the income that I desired for longevity. Like the passive income stuff I've found for myself has been sort of seat of the pants stuff or fly by the night stuff. Like it comes and goes so quickly.
Yes. Yep. And
And
we'll have
in
another whole
that, there's
topic.
hustle.
Yeah, another whole discussion on just passive income. But to the point, I think what you came to the realization, and I came to the realization that there needs to be a little bit more effort on our part, on your part, on my part, to make our businesses actually thrive.
Yeah. So there was this moment, this aha thing where I was like, I have to be willing to be uncomfortable and take the action steps necessary, the revenue generating action steps
I was just going to say that.
necessary to create the level of income and flow and longevity that I want for my life in a career.
Yeah.
And not just be like this passive income babe, which is totally possible. And I get that, but it wasn't working right for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Things got kind of wonky. And, there's a lot of ways that passive income is promoted. It's like, oh, you go create a course, and then people sign up for your course, and you're making money because you wrote it once and it's out there. Or you write a book and you're getting royalties. But there's a lot of competition for those sorts of things out there. Whereas bringing your expertise, to the table, you're bringing what you really know and love, and using your own self, your own abilities to generate your income. That's where it really gets exciting, right? Now you're invested, and it's something that, yeah, you bring yourself into it.
It fulfills your soul.
Yeah. Yes, it does.
Yeah. So
So,
that's where, that's what has been happening for me in the last couple of weeks is like, what I want and what I desire really requires me to hustle in a good way.
yep. Yeah. Let me tell my part of it now, my story.
Mm-hmm.
I was just listening to something in the car today from it's Wayne Dyer's Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life.
Mm-hmm.
And he's he's well known in our, in our circles of Hay House authors, and I really love what he does. But his Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life is his take on the Tao de Jing, which is an ancient Chinese text. And what was really interesting is he said something that made me reminded me of, I had read this in college, and I was a real big fan of Taoism and, that whole philosophy in college. One of my favorite quotes from college was, the Tao does nothing but leave nothing undone. And
Yes.
so,
Yes.
right, what happened was, when I took that philosophy, I stopped being busy, 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 and just kind of let things flow. And a couple of things happened. One time, there was a huge project that I was kind of sort of not really putting 100% effort into. And, I said to myself, well, the Tao does nothing but leaves nothing undone. And then at the very last minute, I decided to get to work on it. I cranked out, a couple hours of work, handed it in, and it was stellar. And instead of fretting over it and doing what I normally do, which is busy, 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 I just kind of let it flow, and it just kind of just happened.
Yeah.
In my first career as a software engineer, there was a project I didn't want to work on, and I was really annoyed with it because it made no sense to me. So again, that philosophy of like, the Tao does nothing and leaves nothing undone, I just kind of put it off and put it off. And then all of a sudden, this project was starting to become due. And then I was told by upper management, we're canceling this project. I'm like, the Tao does nothing and leaves nothing undone. So I was like, whoa, that's cool. So those were two aspects of that philosophy that I really embraced.
That's awesome.
But here's what happened recently is that I just started to stagnate. So long story short, I'm trying to start my own little marketing business. Things are stagnating, work's not coming in, there's no spark. I'm trying to figure out, what do I do? There's frustration and anger. And I'm just like, this is not working. And
Mm.
there was a turnaround where I just said, all right, enough. I'm going to make some changes. I'm going to, like, screw this Tao thing. I got to make some changes. So there seems like it almost seems like two opposing thoughts of the Tao does nothing but leave nothing undone, and the get shit done, right? And I was trying to figure out, how do we integrate those two? How do we integrate this even flow of the universe? And really, well, again, it's like Abraham, the teachings of Abraham, where you're in the flow, you're going downstream, you're not forcing yourself upstream, right? How do you rectify that with getting shit done? So here's what I've come up with. Here's how I
Okay.
see it. If you are aligned inside with your being, but you take action, you'll be rewarded for that action, but not necessarily directly for each action.
Wow.
So here's what I did. I said, I got to change things. So I went on my LinkedIn and I started working on my LinkedIn profile, like, all right, I'm going to get a job. And I'm starting to do stuff and, putting feelers out there, starting to check job sites. And suddenly I just get this big contract, unrelated, completely unrelated, just dropped in my lap. I'm like,
Oh my gosh. That's awesome.
right.
Yeah.
But I decided not to just be passive and wait for good things to happen. I decided to take action, going to make some changes,
Right.
getting into the do, but still trying to maintain the be. And
So you
then,
made it, well, wait, you made a
yeah,
good point there though, because were you actually doing or were you being?
see, that's where it gets a little confusing.
So when you start to be, so for me, I work a lot with energy. I love all things energy. Everything is energy to me. And when I start being, like when I do a lot of Dr. Joe Dispenza
Oh,
meditations.
wonderful. Yes,
Yeah.
fantastic stuff.
And when I sit in a meditation and visualize and see myself and start to feel now of who I'm creating and what I'm creating for myself in the future, I start being it now.
That's so good.
And then there is no do.
Right.
It
Then
shifts to be.
the Tao does nothing, but leaves nothing undone.
Right. Because it doesn't, to me, that's not saying sit on your couch and eat potato chips all day.
Right.
Right. And when you and I were talking about this shift that's happening for you, it made me think of, like, I've done that in my life before where I've just sat on the couch and ate potato chips all day, but I get bored.
Yeah.
Like I'm here to take action.
Right.
And see, to me, like, taking action doesn't necessarily mean doing either. Taking action might actually be going out to dinner with my girlfriends.
Right. Or in my case, I happened to write an email to some people I'd done some work with years ago, just saying, hey, hi, how are you? Haven't seen you guys in a while. And that's what triggered the contract that dropped in my lap.
Exactly.
So the doing wasn't busy, 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 busy. It was doing something. It was connecting with a friend, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what triggered, this beautiful thing that landed in my lap was a connection with a friend.
You know what came to my mind? How many connections can I make today?
Oh, good. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. I mean, the further I go in life, the more I realize it's the people.
It is the
It's the
people.
people we connect with that
Yeah.
make it all worth it. And I think if you're being in that be moment of connecting with another person, that's what rewards, that's where the rewards spring out of. It's
You
not the
know,
do.
I'm all about asking questions, right?
Yeah.
So another question that just came up was to ask, like when you get up in the morning, who or what can I be today? Like to generate the future that I'm asking for right away.
I hope someone's writing this down.
Oh, are you recording it? Oh,
I
you
am. I'm
are.
recording.
Okay, good.
So just for our listeners, we're going to try and do some show notes that kind of here are your top takeaways, right? And that was one of them right there. In the morning, ask, who am I going to be today to bring
Or
me?
who or what am I gonna be? Or who or just even who am I? Who or what am I today?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Another thing you mentioned a minute ago was visualization. And that's another thing that kind of fell off my radar. I mean, I know this stuff, right? I'm writing a book on this stuff. But when you said visualize, the future self that you want to be, how does that look? Like, oh yeah. So key takeaway here is visualization.
Yeah. Well, visualization and then like instilling the posture of that in yourself now. So for instance, for my next relationship, to be in a partnership with someone or a relationship with someone, I want that person to treat me like a queen. So I started to
Be
be
the
that
queen.
in my life without anyone else being there with me. I started to treat myself like a queen. I started to feel like a queen. I started to act like that. Like
Can I say
who or
you
what
look like a queen today?
look like a queen.
Yes, you do. Sorry, back to you.
But it's like, and I like to hold my thoughts in my fingers. So if you ever see my fingers crossed, it means I have a thought waiting to come out.
That's a mudra.
Oh, cool.
Well, we'll
Um,
talk about mudras.
yeah, we will. But like it's mindset, right? So that visualization and then the mindset now. Like how can you like integrate the mindset for the visual for what you're visualizing, but having it now? So the mindset is like bringing the mindset and the visualization together and then integrating the mindset with the visualization now and like embodying it. Like, how does it make me feel
Mm,
to, right?
yeah, yeah,
Because it
yeah.
gives you that posture and then you walk around and you're like, I am the queen.
And and embodying that now is, well, like attracts like, right? Again, that's the whole.
Exactly.
Yep. That's
Exactly.
yeah, yeah. That's the whole. The teachings of Abraham embody that concept more than any other.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I kind of made a list of things. What does this get off your butt and do the work you need to do? What does it not mean? So I think it doesn't mean doing the same thing all the time, right? We get bored with that. We get stuck in rotes.
Yeah.
I mean, it, when I say do the same thing all the time, doesn't that feel heavy and not light? It feels icky.
So boring.
Yes.
It's
So it
so
does. That's
boring.
right.
I get bored.
I do too. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean hiding from hard work. We're not going to hide from hard work. We are going to actually if there's hard work that needs to be done, we're going to do the hard work.
Get busy, get down and dirty, do the uncomfortable things.
Uncomfortable. Yep. That's what you said
Yeah.
earlier. That's good. It also doesn't mean waiting for the good things to just show up. There's your couch, sitting on the couch eating potato chips, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm waiting. Come on, I'm waiting, universe. Let's do this thing.
Where
No,
are you?
right? Come on.
Well, because if I stay on the couch eating potato chips, I'm not going to go out with my friends
And
or
make that
meet new
connection.
people and make connections. Like nothing's going to happen. Like
Right.
when we choose, this is the thing that I found for myself. I'm going to choose things sometimes that I don't necessarily want to do, but I'm going to choose them because I know what it's going to create.
I think a good example of that is a hard phone call, right?
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
maybe not a difficult phone call, but a kind of phone call is like, I'm reaching up to someone that I know can afford what I do. I'm going to ask them would you like to talk about working together? That's the
Yes.
uncomfortable phone call. But you do enough of those and you get some really amazing connections.
And stick with it.
Right.
So I watched the Kentucky Derby, and I don't have all the stats and all the details. Did you watch it?
No, I didn't.
Did you hear about it?
Oh, of course.
Yeah. So like the horse that won was like 15-1 or something.
Crazy, right?
Wasn't supposed to win, whatever. But did you hear that the jockey, like that was his 20th time trying?
Oh, wow. I did not hear that. How interesting.
So like keep trying, keep
Right.
going, keep
20
with
years.
it. Don't give up. Don't give in. Don't quit.
Yeah.
And that I'm going to acknowledge that in us too, John. Like we haven't given up. We
That's
may
true.
have to switch and tweak and change and choose something different, but we keep moving forward.
Yep. I think for me, what happened was listening when I've had enough, right? When things weren't working and that decision, like, all right, enough. I'm going to change things. I need to put myself out there. I need to make a bigger connect. There it is. I needed to make a bigger connection.
Ooh, I love that. That like took my little breath away there a minute. I needed to make a bigger connection.
Right.
What bigger? How many bigger connections can we make this week?
Okay. Right. Let's reach up. Right. Reach up, bigger.
Up and out.
Yeah, up and out.
Wide.
And curiously, after I made that decision is when things started to roll in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Again, they're not rolling in one for one. It's not because I updated my LinkedIn profile. It was something completely different. But I made a conscious decision to make a bigger connection. And the universe says, here you go. How about that? Cool.
Well, because you're showing the universe, this is what I want.
Yes.
When we do that, when we take those actions, when we're willing to take the money-making actions, even if we don't want to do them. Like I've heard people say, I don't want to go networking, or I don't want to go to this meeting, or I don't want to call people, or I don't want to, well, really?
Right. You're willing to get uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Take a little bit of initiative to make a bigger, use the same words, to make that bigger connection.
Yeah.
Cool. So for listeners, if you're stuck, get off your behind, do the uncomfortable work. And here's our key takeaway, I think, from this episode is make a bigger connection.
Yeah. One of the keys, but yeah, there were so many.
Any closing thoughts?
I just want people to keep going. Like, don't give up. And hopefully they can tap into this show and find little nuggets of inspiration to keep going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's hard when you're stuck, because when you're stuck, you don't know how to get yourself out. So if there's what is it to you to reach out, to make a connection, to call someone, to have lunch, like you said, have dinner with a friend.
Well, you and I, even sometimes I'll reach out to you and say, hey, can we just talk about this? Or I need to talk to somebody,
Yep.
Find someone that you can be accountability partners with, or somebody that can kick your butt, or somebody that can just say, hey, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. But don't find somebody that won't stick you and keep you stuck where you're at. Find someone who can shift and change it with you, for you.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this has been episode 1 of the podcast for productivity. Thanks, Rebecca.
Thanks, everybody. Yeah. Thank you, John. And thank everybody else for tuning in, and keep tuning in as we move forward with this adventure.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody. Thank you for listening to the podcast for productivity. with your co-hosts, Rebecca Stevens and John Verbrugge, where we discuss the doing and the being of you and your place in the world. Remember to subscribe to the show.